All right. Do you have my slides? I think, okay, while they are trying to bring up my slides, I will do a quick intro of what I'll be doing this evening. Hopefully in the next 45 or 50 minutes, I should be able to go through all the slides. And I believe that after my teaching tonight, you will be able to pick one or two things that is very, very critical about money and about financial planning, about how you can manage your finances. Something very, very, very critical. And one of the things that I've noticed over time is that it is people that are broke, not essentially because money doesn't flow through their hands. People that are broke because they have a wrong mindset about money. So what we'll be addressing this evening is essentially how to handle money, how to think properly about money, and what is it that we should be doing with our money. So that's why I'll be speaking about mind your money. Mind your money. Can you give me the next slide? Like I said earlier, people are essentially broke, not necessarily because money don't get to their hands. They are broke because they don't mind their money. So what do I mean by this statement? I've over the years discovered that more than when people talk about financial literacy, it's a thing of the mind. When people talk about financial literacy, people always want to see maybe a plan, maybe a schedule, maybe something written somewhere that you can read and all those things. When you're talking about financial planning, the number one thing that you need to understand is you need to be able to think properly about money. How does money work? How does money grow? How does money change things? So those are the things that we'll be looking at this evening. We'll be looking at concepts upon which finances is based, concepts upon which money grows, concepts upon which a banking system is established, concepts upon which financial planning is based, concepts upon which people grow money and become rich. Can you give me the next slide? Yeah, in my presentation this evening, the number one thing that I'll be talking about is I will talk about time value of money. I will try and explain what it means. Then after that, I will move to what we call money cost and opportunity cost. Then I will go through what we call savings and investment. I will look at type of investment, and I will look at what people call other people's money. Can you give me the next slide, please? Okay. Time. What is time value of money? Time value of money is a basic financial concept that holds that money in the present is worth more than the same sum of money to be received in the future. Like I said earlier, this evening I'm talking about concepts that we need to understand. If we have a full grasp of this concept, it will not be difficult for us to plan our finances. As a matter of fact, if I have a full grasp of all these concepts, then I'll be good, I'll be done, I would have made you financially literate at the end of the day. So, what do I mean by time value of money? You know, one of the mistakes that people make about money is to think that money is just money. What this concept is talking about now is, if you give me 100 naira today and you give me 100 naira tomorrow, they are not the same thing. And we need to understand this concept, especially for people who are in business. If you give me 100 naira today and you give me 100 naira tomorrow, they are not the same thing. That is what this concept is all about. Why are they not the same thing? They are not the same thing because time affects the value of money. And I will explain why in my next slide. Time affects the value of money. So I'm talking about these things. I'm bringing this concept so that you understand that if your salary is being delayed, the person is actually stealing from you. If you are doing business and somebody who wants to pay you today delay your payment for another 1 week, that person is actually stealing from you. He's taking money from you. So that is why when you are doing business and you want to give somebody credit, you should not collect the same price from that person. Say for instance, if I want to sell this phone for 100,000 and somebody is paying me 100,000 now, and I want to sell this phone to another person who will pay me next month, I should not give this same phone to that person the same price, because he's not paying immediately. And what do we see people do today? Because they don't understand how money works, they handle money in a very shabby way. That is why at the end of the day, some people are broke, not essentially because money doesn't flow through their hand. In fact, as a matter of fact, I know people around me that a lot of money flow through their hands, but eventually they are still living a broken life. Quote and unquote. They are still broke. They still lack money. Yet, I've seen people within a short period of time, something as much as 10 million, 20 million could pass through their hand. But after 6 months, you ask them, give me something as little as 10,000, 100,000. They say they don't have. So why? It's because they don't understand how money works. And the number one concept that we'll be talking about today is time value of money. And what is this concept talking about? Money today is not the same thing as money tomorrow. As a matter of fact, money today is better than the same money tomorrow. Can you give me the next slide? Next slide, please. Okay. Why time affects value of money? Why time affects value of money? We'll be talking about three things. Number one is risk. And what is risk? The probability that a future event may not occur. So what are we, the reason why money today, number one reason why money today is better than money tomorrow or money in the future is because of the element of risk. Why? Because if you promise me to give, if you give me 100 naira today and somebody else is promising me 100 naira tomorrow, the element of risk, the probability that that person may not, there is a probability that that person may not give me that money tomorrow. There is a probability that that person will not even be around to give me the money tomorrow. So because of that element of risk, the value of money that I get today is better than the money that I'm going to get in the future. Number two reason why money today is better than the money tomorrow is because money can earn money. Money can earn money. So what that means is that if you give me 100,000 naira today and you promise to give me 100,000 naira next week, they are not the same thing. Because if I get my 100,000 naira today, I can put it in an investment and earn interest on it. So that is another reason why money today is not the same thing as money tomorrow. That is why we live in the world, or we live in the country where people hold people's salary. For instance, if you hold me my salary, if you hold me if you hold me September salary, and you are paying me my September salary in October, you should actually pay me with interest. Because what I ought to have done with that money is not the same thing they are giving to you. So when we approach money and money start to flow into our hand, when we are doing business or when you are doing transaction with people, you should understand that the quicker you collect your money, the better you have. The quicker you collect your money, the better you have. So this concept is very, very critical when it comes to managing funds. Then number 3 points. Okay. The number 3 points is inflation and purchasing power. What is inflation? Inflation generally means change in price. Take for instance, okay, I can explain a bit of what is happening in Nigeria today. If you look at what is happening in the country today, you discover that you buy a Congo of rice for maybe 200 naira today, maybe in 3 weeks time it has become 250 naira. So because by the time if the money comes to your hand today, you could have used the money to do a particular thing that you might not be able to do in tomorrow when the money comes. So what that means is that, take for instance that the inflation rate of Nigeria is about 17% approximately. What that means is that if what cost 100 naira today will cost 117 naira next year, because it's based on a yearly basis. What it means essentially is that if somebody gives me 100 naira today, and that person is giving me 100 naira next year, the 100 naira that person is giving me next year will not be able to do that same thing that I would have used my 100 naira to do today. So for these various reasons that I mentioned, which is risk, which is the fact that money can also earn money, which is also the fact that there is inflation in the economy, that is main reason why when you are having a financial transaction with somebody, you need to quickly collect your money. You need to ensure that you are paid as and when due. You need to ensure that money comes into your hand as quickly as possible. That is why for people who do business, people love to do business where they pay them cash and carry. For a good businessman, they will tell you cash and carry. As a matter of fact, sometimes when you want to pay cash and carry, people give you discounts. But when you want to pay at a later month, they say no, or they have to the price. So, number one concept that number one takeaway from this seminar today is that there is a time cost to money. There is a time. The time has effect on the value of money. So, when you are dealing with money, you must be prompt. You must be apt to collect your money. You shouldn't wait. You shouldn't delay your payment. If somebody is owing you today, if the person can pay, go and collect your money. Anybody that is owing you today, try as much as possible to collect your money, because the longer it stays in the hand of that person, the more the money is losing value, for three reasons. One, risk. Two, inflation. Three, the money could earn more money. Can you give me the next slide? Now, another concept. Remember, I told you earlier that today we'll be talking about different concepts. Then at the end of this concept, I said I would have tried to make most people financially literate. Now, what I want to talk about now is what they call risk and return. This is another concept we need to understand about finance. And this is another concept that is very important that we need to understand about financial planning. Now, what does these things talk about in finance? The higher the risk, the higher the expected return. And what do you see people do today? Sometimes people put money in a venture that is very risky. That the risk that is coming from that venture, does not match the return that is coming from that venture does not match the risk. Whenever you are investing your money, or whenever you are putting your money in any venture, you should always match the return with the risk. Whenever you are putting your money in any investment, whenever you are putting your money in any venture, you must always match the return with the risk. When the risk is very high, the return must also be very high. I will give you a very classical example. Is there a student here? Is there a student? A student. You are a student. Please come. Sorry, please come. What class are you?
7th grade.
7th grade. Okay, she's in 7th grade. She wants to borrow 100,000 from you. She wants to borrow 100,000 from you. I want to borrow 100,000 from you. And you want to collect interest from both of us. You are an investor. You want to lend the money to both of us. Myself 100,000, she also wants 100,000. Now, if you give me the money at 10%, and you also give her at 10%, does it make sense? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. Can somebody tell me why it doesn't make sense? I am paying you 100,000 for that investment, and she is also I'm paying you 10% for that investment, and she's also paying you 10% from that investment. Based on what we said earlier, why is it that it doesn't make sense? Please, you can go and have a seat. Thank you very much. Is there anybody who can help me with that? Why is it that it doesn't make sense? You said it doesn't make sense. Do you want to try? No. Okay. Do you know why it doesn't make sense? It doesn't make sense because the risk I can pay, assuming that I'm okay. I'm assuming that because she's a student, she doesn't work, she doesn't earn money. So the probability that she will pay you is very minimal. The probability that I will pay you is very high. So which means that giving her money is riskier than giving me money. Putting your investment into the hand of a grade 7 student is a high risk investment. The probability that your money will be paid is very low. But you give your money to somebody that has a job, that collects salary, good salary, the probability is high. So if you have to do that investment at all, the return that you must get from her must be high, because you are taking more risk. That is why when bank want to give loan to Dangote, they will give it at its chinkini interest. But when they want to give loan to you, they will give it to you at 30%, because you are high risk according to the blank classification. So that is the same way you should think when you are doing any transaction. That is the way you should think when you are doing any financial transaction. That is what they call financial literacy. So when you want to do an investment today, and they call the investment MMM, if you want to do it at all, then the return must be very fast. So in the example that we have just mentioned now, if you give me that 10%, I expect that because you are taking high risk on her, you should give it to her at about 30% if she can pay. It is not wickedness. It is not wickedness. That is how finance works. And we need to understand it. You should give it to her at 30%. Why are they giving it to her at the end of the day? Because there is more risk from her side than from my side. So when you are doing any transaction, when you are dealing with anything, especially for business people, when you want to give credit to somebody that usually pay, you might stop it down. But for somebody that does not have any track record, you should also make your return to be high. So number 2 concept that we need to bear in mind when we are dealing with financial issues is that the higher the risk, the higher the return. Especially for investment purposes. When the return is also very high, we know that the risk is also very high. That is why when people want to collect money from you in a risky investment, like the likes of all those what do they call them, wonder banks and all the rest, they promise people high return, 30% in 1 month, 50% in 1 month. The risk is very high, the return is also very high. So don't ever make the mistake of going into an investment that is very risky and the return is very low. It doesn't make any financial sense. When the risk is very high, run away from it if you don't want to take risk. But if you must take it, then the return must be very high. That is number 2 concept that we need to know. Number 1 concept, there is time value to money. Number 2 concept, the higher the risk, the higher the return. When you are dealing with any financial transaction, when you are doing investment, when the investment is very risky, make sure your return is very high. Then when somebody is also giving you high return, also note that that thing is also very risky. Can you give me the next slide? Number 3 thing that we need to learn when it comes to financial literacy is there is a difference between money cost and opportunity cost. I remember as a student of economics in my SS1 that time, they taught us. We know all these things in economics. We know all these things in basic accounting. We know all these things in maybe basic mathematics as well. But unfortunately, when it comes to life issues, we often don't apply them. We often don't apply them. Money cost and opportunity cost, there's a difference between the two. And for every time you are dealing with money, you must consider the two. And I will give you examples. What is money cost? Money cost is the actual cash or credit paid for a good or service. Opportunity cost is the foregone cost of the next best alternative. Then the real cost is the sum of the two. Now let me explain. If you ask me to give you, if I have 1,000 naira in my pocket for dinner today, 1,000 naira in my pocket for dinner, and you come to me that I should give you 1,000 naira. If I decide to give you that 1,000 naira, what is the cost to me? The money cost to me is what? 1,000 naira. What I've given you is 1,000 naira. But the truth of the matter is, what I've given you is more than 1,000 naira. What is the next thing that I've given you? My dinner. Because most of the time when people are dealing with money, they only look at the money. They don't look at the concept of opportunity cost. That is why people waste money. That is why people put money in wrong things. What is costing me? The 1,000 naira that I'm giving to you, yes, it is 1,000 naira, but the alternative forgone, because that means that I'm giving you 1,000 naira this night, but at the same time I'm not going to eat dinner this night. So if the real cost of that action is 1,000 naira plus my dinner plus the hunger that I'm going to suffer this night. But most of the time, people just give money to people. They don't consider the real cost to them. They only look at the money cost. The opportunity cost is what you should have used that money to do that you did not do. You also need to factor it into the cost. And I will give you an example. Do you have our phones or calculator here? You have a phone or calculator, you can bring it out. I just want us to do a simple calculation. If I earn 1,000 naira, sorry, if my salary is 100,000 naira, okay. Please come. Nigerian Jesse man. Do you play football? Please come. You play football. Okay. What wing do you play? Okay, good. If your salary is 100,000 naira, is it difficult for you to give me 1,000 naira as dash? It's not difficult at all. Your salary is his salary is 100,000 naira every month. So if I come to you, okay, bro, please can you give me 1,000 naira? As a nice guy, it is not difficult for you to give me 1,000 naira. It's not a big deal. Okay, now let's do this calculation. In a month, how many days do we work? We don't work on weekends. Let's assume that it's a white collar job. We don't work on weekends, Friday, Saturday. So let's just take 4 weeks in a month. Let's assume that we work for 22 days on the average. For a 30-day month, we usually work for about 21, 22 days. But let's use the factor of 22. So on a daily basis, what is his salary? 100,000 divided by 22. What does that give us? What we call it? 4,545 naira. Okay, 4,000. That means that what he earns on a daily basis is 4,445 naira. That's very good. 4,545 naira. Okay, good. Now, how many hours do we work in a day? On the average, we work 8 hours. Let's say 8 to 4. So divide that figure by 8. That is what? 568 naira. So that means that when you go to work every day, per hour, you earn 568 naira. So if I'm asking you to give me 1,000 naira, and you give me that 1,000 naira, what you are giving me is your 2 hours work. You can see how we waste money. You know, if you reason that okay, it's my 2 hours work. Sometimes you go to work at times, the pressure will be so much. Maybe your boss asked you to do something and you didn't do it well. You say, my friend, you get out of my office. You this. If you think about those things, you know, you find it difficult to give people money. And to not make the matter worse, you give me that 1,000 naira, and I tell you that, bro, make 2,000 now. I said, no, 1,000. Okay, and people don't even appreciate it. Have you ever been in that position that you give people money, they don't even appreciate it? But if you reason and you put the opportunity cost of that 1,000 naira to me is your 2 hours of labor. See, I'm not teaching us to be stingy. So, so that when we get out, we don't become so stingy. But I'm teaching us to put. You can have your seat. Thank you very much. So I'm teaching us to understand that money. There is a way money works, and we need to reason with these dynamics for us to make money. So if you reason that way, you will know that when you want to give somebody money, you need to put it in a proper perspective. The person better come to you with good reasons, because you know what you are giving to that person is what I worked for 2 hours is what I want to give you as dash. What is the average cost of labor in Nigeria? For many jobs, maybe it's about 2,000, 2,500 a day. When I want to give people money, I put that in perspective. That if I give you 1,000 naira, that is what somebody worked for from 7 a.m. till 12. So you better appreciate it. So if you start to reason in terms of opportunity cost, if you start to reason in terms of the real cost of that money, you better know that. So that when you want to spend your money, you won't spend it anyhow. Those are these concepts. These concepts that we're sharing, they are the bedrock of financial literacy. So when we say financial literacy, we are not talking about your ability to just plan and just do all those gymnastics. You need to be able to think in a particular way to be financially literate. So in future, when you are dealing with money, you don't spend it anyhow. You look at the cost to you. You then look at it. Is it a just cost? Does it make sense to me? If I'm going to give my 2 hours of labor to somebody, then that thing had to be right. Now I put something in red ink there. I hope you can see. The real cost elements for every spending must be calculated, and that is what I just demonstrated by those 2 examples. Now that's the third concept. The number 1 concept, time value of money. I don't want to spend so much time so they can have time for question and answer. Number 1, time value of money. Number 2, risk and return. Number 3, money cost and opportunity cost. Can you give me the first slide? I'm running on. Okay, savings and investment. If you don't understand how savings and investment work, you are not yet financially literate. What is savings? Saving, there is always an argument. People will tell you that don't save your money, invest your money. Don't invest your money, save your money. Should I do savings? Should I do that? They are just people are just confusing us with what. What is savings? Saving is putting money aside for future use. What is investment? Investment is the commitment of money or capital to purchase assets in order to gain return in the form of interest, income, or appreciation of value. And I will explain the two. The two are interconnected. I have discovered that if you don't save, if you can't save, you can't invest. What is savings? Savings is simply the portion of your money that you refuse to spend, that you refuse to consume. Savings is your income minus your consumption. What is left over? Is it not the leftover that you invest eventually? Okay, good. So savings is what? Putting money aside for a future use. The fact that you save does not mean that you are investing, because the future use may be to buy something that you like. You can save for Christmas to buy Christmas chicken. That is savings. But buying Christmas chicken is not an investment. You can save to buy a house. That is, you are saving for investment purpose. That's the difference between the two. So we know savings. And what is investment? Investment is any asset that you buy that appreciates in value in future and can also give you interest on income. If I buy this chair today for 100 naira, and I decide for investment purpose, and I decide to sell it next year for 150 naira, and I gain 50 naira, I have invested. So what is investment? Investment is essentially buying an asset for the purpose of appreciation in value and return on investment in terms of interest and income and appreciation of value. Investment is the commitment of money or capital to purchase assets in order to gain return in form of interest, income, and appreciation of value. Now give me the next slide. Let me give you types of investment. Next slide. Okay. Now let's look at type of investment and I'll explain them one by one. Number one that I want to talk about is stock and shares. You can buy the stock of quoted companies. You can buy the stock of a bank in Nigeria, a share in Bank of Nigeria, a bank in Nigeria. That's an investment. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of all those. You can buy bond. I don't want to go into the details of all those ones. If you need to learn more, listen, I don't want to go above the scope of this class. You can buy real estate. Real estate means properties, land, houses, and all those things, because they appreciate in value. You can buy commodities, precious metal, agri-produce, etc. You know gold is commodity. Women that buy gold, they're actually investing because gold usually appreciates in value. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So money market instruments, your fixed deposits, time deposits, and treasury bill and all those things, they are a form of investment because they appreciate in value and they give you return in terms of interest. Business investment, you can decide to go into business and put money on your business. If you are a caterer, you can go into that business, set up the business, build the brand, buy equipment, build your customer, and also put money there. It's a form of investment. Digital asset, I didn't want to put this one, but I have to put it because it's now common now. What people call cryptocurrencies now, it's also a form of investment. You know, I was at a seminar earlier in the year and I was doing something about investment. I didn't mention it, but somebody in the audience drew me. So I knew somebody would ask me that question, so you better put it here. So cryptocurrency, as it's becoming popular in the world today, is also a form of investment. Can you give me the next slide? Now, I think people are interested in this. Other people's money. And what do we call other people's money? Other people's money is what we call borrowed fund. That is loan. That is debt that people go for. Other people's money. When you take a loan from the bank or from an individual or from anywhere, you are using other people's money for your own purpose. And what is other people's money? When other people give you money, they want something from you. Interest. The cost of OPM, which is other people's money, is interest. When you want to take a loan, the number one thing, the most critical thing that you must consider when you are taking a loan, and that is where people run into trouble. How do I pay this loan back with interest? I have discovered, after relating with people for so many years in terms of finance, when people need money, they just take anything, and it doesn't work that way. When you are taking a loan, the number one thing that you must put in mind is that, how do I pay this money back? Where is the repayment going to come from? But people oftentimes don't think about the repayment. They just want the money to solve the immediate problem, and that is how people run into trouble. So when you are taking a loan, the number one thing you need to look at is, where am I going to pay it from? Where am I going to pay the interest from? What is the interest on this loan? Because it's other people's money, they must get it back, and they must get it back with interest. Where am I going to pay it from? Can you give me this slide? Now, use OPM for proven investments only. Use OPM, other people's money, for proven investment only. This is where the mistake that people make. When they borrow money, what has not been proven, what they don't know, they put money there. My friend told me that this is the business that is breaking money now, and you go and take other people's money to put it in that investment. What you have not proven, what you don't understand, don't use other people's money for it. Don't use other people's money for trial and error. I don't even think the Bible supports it, because it's an act of wickedness. What you cannot use your money for, don't use other people's money for. So if you want to try something new, use your money first. If you have don't use the money, your own money, to do the business, and the business is very successful, maybe the first time, the second time, and you want to scale up, then think about other people's money. But don't use other people's money for trial and error. It is wrong. That is why people run into trouble. But you can get to a particular level in any venture, in any business, that you know that you are very, very sure, you are very, very confident about the business, about the investment, that if I put this money there, I am going to make money. That is when you can consider other people's money. Other people's money is a double-edged sword. It can make or mar people. How? If I sell chairs, for instance, I buy it from somewhere in Lagos and I sell it in Ibadan. If I buy a unit of this chair for 10,000 and I sell it for 12,000, that means on a daily basis, if I sell one unit, I make 2K. Good business for me. I've been doing it. But at any point in time, I can only buy 10. Once I buy the 10, I will sell, make my return, and go again. So, which means that at every point in time, the capacity that I have is to buy just 10 shares. And somebody comes to me and say, can you supply us 50? You know you don't have capacity to do 50, but you are very sure that if you buy it for 10,000 naira, you will make 22,000 naira on each. You can go. That is how much. What is your profit on it? 2,000 on 10,000. What is the percentage? That is 20%. That is 20% return is your profit. So if you come to me that you want to take a loan from me, if you come to me that you want to take a loan from me to do that 50 unit supply, if you take that loan from me, at what rate do you think you should take that loan? You say what? Somebody said 30. 5. At what? Any rate lesser than 20, that is accurate. But if you say any rate lesser than 20, will you take 19? Will you take 15? You take 15. You know, if you take 15, that means that the person that gave you the money on each will take 15. That will take 1,500 and they give you 500 naira. That's what it means. Yes, you might be okay with it, but me, I'm not okay with such arrangements. But the truth is, you should never go and take money that is above the profit that you are going to make it. Because the interest that you are making from that money should come from the profit you are making from the business. And most of the time, people don't do all this calculation. They just want to jump into that business. Once they jump into that, they collect the money, go into that business and get the same boss. That is why people enter into bad debt. Debt is good. I heard from the intro. Debt is good. Once I see a very viable opportunity, debt is very good. I will take money anytime, any day. I will take money, I will take loan anytime, any day. The only thing that will stop me from taking loan is when opportunity ceases to come. Once you see opportunity, and the truth of the matter is, opportunity, when you are talking opportunity will always be bigger than you. Real opportunity will always be bigger than you. If the opportunity is just your size, it is not big enough. It is not big enough. When real opportunity come, the real opportunity that will make people, they are usually bigger than that person. So at that point, you need to bring people in. We can go into scriptures and talk about that. And when Jesus Christ said, "Launch into the deep," when they caught the fish, they could not carry it. Opportunity will always be bigger than you. Then you need other people's money to make more money. But you need to use it wisely. It is beyond the scope of this class to start to talk about the simple calculation that we usually do. So I won't go into the depth of that. But if question comes during the question time about that, then I can expatiate more. If you can, this is another danger. It's very difficult to say, but I will say it. If you can, avoid using other people's money to fund consumption. If you can, avoid using other people's money to fund consumption. I'm not a fan of people collecting loans to buy television. I'm not a fan of that. If you can, don't do it. Consumption. Save your money and buy the television later. When you are using other people's money, try as much as possible to put it in something that will earn money for you. But if I have to buy a jersey, because the two of us have a party tomorrow and it's a jersey party, and I want to go and take other people's money to buy jersey that we are taking to party tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't make financial sense. If you can, avoid it. But if somebody says, I want to sell this wristwatch, the value of the wristwatch is 10,000 naira, I need money quick, come and buy it for 5k, and I know if I buy it for 5k, I'll be able to sell it for 7k tomorrow. If I borrow money for that purpose, that is investment. It makes sense. When you are taking other people's money, I just don't want to say loan. When you are taking other people's money, because I'm using that other people's money, because sometimes the thing loan might come in disguise. Because I also want to put a kind of responsibility to it, because sometimes people take money from friends. Yes, your friend didn't ask for interest, but you have the responsibility to pay back. You know, so people just take money anyhow. Other people's money that is not your own, you have the responsibility to put in a venture that will pay the person back. And when it is consumption, I usually frown at it. So that's why I said, if you can, don't use other people's money to fund consumption. Delay gratification. That's one thing that is very critical. Sometimes people can be in financial trouble. The school just resumed, and one way or the other, you could not pay your children's school fees, and they're about to be sent out of school. Should you take a loan to pay the school fees? I will say yes. I will say yes. But next time, don't put yourself in that situation. That's what I will say. Next time, don't find yourself in that situation. It's not always good to use borrowed funds to do things like that. There are things that we should save for. There are the things that that's why I talk about savings and investment. There are things that we should save for. It is when you use other people's money to bring opportunity. When opportunity present themselves to you, use other people's money to capture more than you can actually capture. That is the best purpose for other people's money. I think I'm pretty much, I don't want to go too deep into some details. That's why I decided not to do calculation. I can decide to be talking about calculation. I can decide to be putting us out to calculate interest and all those things. But I don't think we need it. Next slide. I think that's my final slide. Yeah, thank you very much. So, let us, if you choose not to ask me questions, I will set questions for you. We just turn it to another. I will set questions for you, serious questions. All right, question time. I understand that some people are online. How do we get their questions? Okay, they type it. Okay.
I must commend your efforts, sir.
Thank you very much.
Job well done.
Thank you.
My question is, borrowing money to buy a landed property, expecting that you're going to build, not for investment purpose.
To build.
To build.
Okay, good.
For yourself.
Thank you very much.
Borrow the money. Is that, reasonable? Is that, encouraging?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. It's and I will try as much as possible to be honest, and I'll be frank. And my thoughts might not be too conventional, but my thoughts about a lot of things are based on empirical data, which I can always prove if you allow me to prove it in terms of calculation. When people take loan to buy a landed property, a land that you want to build, and you now took a loan to buy it, a lot of time people, what they call bandwagon effect. Everybody is building house, me too, I want to build. Everybody is building house, I want to build. Now if you take a loan to buy a landed property, how do you pay the loan back? People take a salary loan. to buy a landed property. I've seen people in that situation, a lot of people in that situation. After some time, some of them want to sell the land. Some of them just abandon the project and face more important things. So if you earn 100,000, let me put a scenario to it. If you earn 100,000 naira as salary, for instance, and you want to take a loan of let's say 3 million, let's say 1 million naira to buy the land. 1 million naira, please let me quickly divide it by 12. Okay, let's even say they gave you the loan at, let's say they gave you the loan at 10% per annum. 10% is even, 10% is not realistic. Let's say they give you the loan at 20% per annum. So let me divide 1.2 by 12. That's 100,000. That's what is not even worth. Even if they give you the loan for 3 years, let's say they give you for 3 years, divided by 36, 1.2 million. You know how I arrive at 1.2 million. I assume that the interest rate on that loan is 20%. So, and I multiply the 20% of 1 million is 200,000. So 1 million plus the interest, that is divided by 36, that is about 33,000 something. Let's assume it's 33,000. If you earn 100,000 every month, that means for the next 3 years, 33,000 naira will be taken from your salary, and you'll be left with 66,000. With 66,000, can you buy block? Can you buy? So how are you going to build it? How are you going to build it? So it doesn't make any sense to do that, those kind of a thing. It doesn't make any sense, except if you work in a place where they pay you lump sum. You are expecting bonus, you are expecting something, and you feel that, okay, let me quickly buy this land because it's cheap, so that when the money comes, I can pay back. But you go and take a 3-year loan to buy a land. How? Tell me how you will build it with the remaining 66, and you have a wife, you have 2 children, you will pay rent. It doesn't make sense. You know, sometimes people jump the gun, and what I mean by people jump the gun is, see, investment, you need to be patient to do it. The number one thing that person should be thinking about is 100,000 naira is not enough income for me to build a house. It is not enough. With all intent and purposes, I will not lie to you. If you earn 100,000 naira a month and you don't have a house, it is very difficult. So what that person should be thinking is, what can I do that will make me earn more, such that I will be able to get more money to start doing the project. I expect that person to take a loan to do a particular kind of investment or business. So when the return on that business is coming, then you can then use it to build, to start building the house, to start property. But when you take a loan of 3 years and you buy the land, you are going to still have issues building the house. That is why some people, they will not, it doesn't make sense when you are building the house and everybody is asking you, bro, kilo sheyin, what is happening to you? Because you are looking so tired. You have seen people like that. You can hardly change your shoe. You can hardly change your trousers. And at the end of the day, because of the pressure of the house you are building, you become less productive at work. And your boss started complaining that what is wrong with you? You are not like this before. How are you spending your money? Do you have problems? You know, so it doesn't, for me, as a person, it doesn't make sense. Except if you are buying that property with faith. And we are not teaching faith here. We are teaching financial literacy. Thank you very much. Any other question? Or you want to prove further? Okay, please ask.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you.
Taking the scenario of 100K per month, that the income is 100K per month.
Yes.
Let's say out of that 100K, 20% is going into debt repayment.
Okay.
And plus expenses, no family, just the single person.
Okay.
And the remaining 80%, maybe like 40% out of the 80% is going into expenses and monthly runnings and all. Is it still possible to save even after removing all those expenses and to save a substantial amount?
Yes, what I expect in this scenario, if I'm interested in buying land, in fact, as a matter of fact, it is a non-fact. I don't need to tell anybody that you are not supposed to spend all your salary. you are supposed to spend. So for that person, that kind of a question, if that person is interested in buying landed property, I think what that person should do is to save towards it rather than taking a loan. So you now look at your income, 100,000. How much is my rent? How much did I spend on feeding? How much did I spend on my children? How much did I spend on home remittance, which virtually everybody does in Nigeria? Home remittance. You have one dependent somewhere or the other. So after looking at all these things, that is why financial budgeting is very good. Look at my income and say, how much can I save? And when you are saving, don't put yourself under pressure. Don't put yourself under pressure. That's another reason why people don't save. I'm earning 100,000 because I have a target. I will be saving 50,000 every month. You discover that you save it for 3 months, you go back to the savings. Savings don't work that way. Am I getting a witness? That's what happens to everybody. When you want to save, you don't save by force. Saving is not by force. It takes discipline, not force. And the discipline, once you decide to, so when you want to save, number one thing you do is that, how much will I spend that will make me live a moderately comfortable life in a month, that I won't have to be running eta-sketa? If it is 90,000, this is only 10,000 you can save. Put it there. What you save is what you know that you cannot touch. That for whatever reason you will not be under pressure to go and touch it. But if you say you want to save 50% of your salary, you will do it for 1 month, 2 months. After 2 months, one obligation will come. You go and bust the savings. You are just putting yourself in a situation where you do not, at the end of the day, you will not do anything. So look at your income. Look at your monthly expenditure. And one of the things that I do personally when I want to size up the way I spend is that I take an inventory of everything in a month. Say for instance, okay, the month is middle now. You can pick from today till this time next month. Write everything that you spend. That's what I do. If I want to keep a track on how much I spend. If I spend 1 cup, I'll quickly put it on my phone and I go and write it down. I classify them. So at the end of the month, you discover that this is how much you spend. You now analyze it. Which of these things that I spent this last month that I can take off? The money you gave to your friend, the one that you used to buy dress for party, maybe this one I can take it off. The one you spent on food, maybe last week you were just eating out everywhere. Maybe if I stop eating out, if I start to load my house with stuff, with raw food and be cooking at home, maybe like. So when you do all those analysis, you now look at it. If I go lower than this, I will be killing myself. You know there's a level that which if you go lower, then you will deceive yourself. Very soon you just fall ill because of savings. You know people do all those kind of a thing. They will just, you don't develop unnecessary sickness because you are saving. You don't need to kill yourself because you want to save. So by the time you look at it properly and you see that this are the important one, I will stay to it. So at the end of the month, I should be able to save 20,000. Then put the 20,000. That is why people say in finance, in investment, that you pay yourself first. When your salary comes, put the 20,000 in an investment portfolio. It could be shares, it could be fixed deposit, it could be savings account in the bank, it could be anything. Just be saving it. Just be closing your eyes to it. Before you know it, I've been in a situation where I just open an account. I open an account for my children, and I put sometimes 10K every month. 10K, just put 10K there. That you feel that it's not a big deal. The one day you open it, you see millions. You know, the reason why it works that way is 10K I can easily forget. But if I've been putting 50K or 100K, then the day I need money, I will remember. I will go and say, I borrow it, I will return it. Is that not how it starts? I want to borrow it, I will return it, but you never return them. So that's how savings work. That's the practical way that it works. Any other question?
My second question, sir.
Okay.
What is your advice on the concept of easy buy? Could be landed property, phone, accessories, easy buy, instrumentally.
Easy buy is
spread for the next 12 months, next 6 months and all that. Is it financially viable?
Yes, no. It depends on your level of discipline. In developed nations, in developed economy, the economy is built on credit. Honestly, an average white person will tell you that, how can I take 5 million naira to buy a car? 5 million naira to buy a car. It's only Nigeria that will do all those things. All these people that we buy, they buy it on contract. They don't buy it. It doesn't make sense. to carry your 5 million naira to buy a car. 5 million naira cash to buy a car. Why? They will not do that. Do you know why they will not do that? Do you know why it makes sense? Do you know the reason why it makes sense is because you could use that 5 million naira for an investment that will yield more return to pay the interest on the loan. So if you have 5 million naira, are you a Yoruba person or Igbo? Yoruba? Is there any Igbo person here? Igbo Kwenu? You know what 5 million naira can do now? In Aba. So you will not carry, even if you need car, you will not carry 5 million naira to buy the car, cash down. You will put the cash on your business. When the return is coming on a monthly basis, you will now be paying the person that gave you loan to buy the car small. It makes sense. But what happened at the end of the day, why I said no, is that because you didn't pay cash for that loan, you tend to be thinking that you have money and you'll be packing debts. You know, when by the time you are driving the car, you're just cruising the car, you see have your 55 million naira. Me, that I've dropped my 5 million naira, is paining me. Sometimes in my car, I will hit Gary. I will clean my mouth so that people will not know that I hit Gary this morning, but I'm still cruising my car. I'm suffering for it. But you are behaving as if all is well, whereas all is not well, because that car is dead. So if you are not careful, you will discover that somebody will come the following day and say, come and buy iPhone Pro Max 200,000. You say, maybe I can pay over 2 years. You take it again. Somebody will come the following day. You say, come and buy deep freezer. This one that you are using at home is not big enough. Come and buy big one. You take it again. Before you know, you discover that all your life is on debt. You now to now make the matter worse. All the money that you thought you put in investment, because you are careless, the investment is not even yielding enough return to fund all the loan. So that is the danger in it. But in terms of finance, it makes a perfect sense for you to use loan to spread payments on things, but provided that the money you ought to have spent on that thing, you put it on an investment that is yielding higher return than the interest. So if you give me my phone to buy my phone for 300,000 naira, and you put a 10% interest on it, even 15% interest, and you ask me to spread it over 2 years, and I put my 300,000 in the shares of Zenith Bank, and that shares grew, maybe in 3 months, 1 year, the share grew by 50%. You know, it makes sense. Because the share grew by 50% and I'm paying 15% on that money. So at the end of the day, out of the 50%, I gave you 50%, I said make that. But at the end of the day, the temptation is that after the phone, I will go to airport. He said the airport must go with it. You know how iPhone behaves. Once you enter their net like this, they will give you all their products. Once they will give you all the product. If you want to buy a laptop, you used to use HP before. Now you want to use MacBook. You used to use your 1,000 naira iPhone before. Now you want to have the feel. They will tell you that you are not feeling the phone. The reason why you are not feeling it is because you are not using their own. So people, you get deeper into debt. So you have it's a win-win. You have to be careful. Any other question?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Opeyemi. So I have this concept around seed funding.
Seed funding.
Yes. So you have startups getting access to seed funding. How does that apply to OPM?
Okay.
So the concept of seed funding and how it works with other people's money. That will be my first question. The second one is. So you've talked a lot around financial literacy. I also believe that some people at one time or the other may have made some wrong decisions. Do we have a recovery chart or recovery plan approach to help them get back on track?
Okay. Okay, I will first of all take the first, the seed funding. Okay. When we talk about other people's money, there is something in finance. I don't want to. I try to avoid technical languages so that people can understand it. There is something they call equity. There is something they call debt. Okay. Now, when we talk about seed funding, there are two ways to it. One be classified as other people's money. One will not be classified as other people's money. And I will give you the example. If you are starting a business, the business is going to cost you 10 million naira and you have 2 million naira. And with that 2 million naira, you cannot start meaningfully. So you need to bring investors in. There are two options that are open to you. You can come to me. If I have, you know that I have money. You can come to me and say, Opey, come and put in 8 million naira into this business. I will pay you back I will pay you back maybe quarterly. I will pay you back annually over a period of 5 years. Then you get out of the business. That is other people's money. But you can also call me and say, let us own this business together. In that case, when you say we should own the business together, you cannot call it other people's money because we are both owners. So if you fall, we fall. If you pass, we pass. So sometimes, in fact, as a matter of fact, a lot of time, when people are starting out in business, you should not use other people's money. You should get investors who will be part owners. But of course, most people don't like partnership because you don't want people to share in the idea. You want to do it all alone. I have discovered over time, and I tell people over and over again, I will rather own 1% of Dangote Group than 100% of Pajimo and Co. Yeah. I will rather own. Let me even give you a live example. Let me give you one business that is quite big in Ibadan. A name that's quite big in Ibadan. Yeah. I will rather own 10% of Dangote Group than own 100%. Even let me give you I would rather than own 10% of maybe the Wema Bank here. Yes. If they give me 100% of Wema Bank, I will take 10% of Dangote Group. Because 10% of Dangote Group is bigger than. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So it is better for me to have a share of a very big pair than to give me 100% of a small thing. So when you are going into partnership, and you can see, that is why the reason why people behave the way they behave is they don't have opportunity. I have seen that, I can tell you for free. The reason why people behave the way they behave is the real opportunity has not come. When people see real opportunity, you will know that nobody will tell you before you call people to come and eat, because the thing is just too big. So when big opportunity comes, you can then bring in people to it. Then number two question is, okay, recovery plan for people that are already in debt. Okay, take for instance, now if somebody is already in debt now, let me give you maybe 1, 2, 3 steps. Number one step for coming out of debt is that you need, number one is you need to be responsible. You need to accept responsibility for that debt. You need to first of all make up your mind that you want to pay and you want to come out of it. What I see people do a lot of times that is wrong, it puts them in more problem, is they take debt to settle one debt. It will never work. When the pressure from this debtor is becoming so much, they will run to another one to go and take another one. They are just recycling the problem. Then when you have issues, I'm telling you, there is nothing anybody can do on the earth. If you owe anybody money, they can't kill you. But when you are sincere, all you need to do is you need to renegotiate your debt. If you owe me 1 million naira, and I can see the sincerity of your heart that you cannot pay, you put it in a business, because of COVID, business went bad. So what do you want me to do? I should kill myself because business went bad? No. But if you are responsible, you tell the debtor, give me more time. This is my repayment plan. What people should do is, if you take a loan of 3 months and you are in a financial mess, number one thing, put the loan aside. Reappraise your income. What is it? Who am I? You know the truth. One problem is people lie to themselves. People lie to themselves. Don't worry, I will pay in 3 months. And not every, if I, as a matter of fact, I meet people in that situation from time to time. I will pay. Just give me 3 weeks. I will pay. It is, you don't pay your debts like that. There must be a plan. Reappraise your income. Now, what I make on a monthly basis has reduced. It is now, I used to make 100,000. It is now 30,000. Out of that 30,000, how much of that 30,000 can I apply to pay my debts? Apply. Then another thing that people need to do is that you don't need to impress anybody. If there are loose assets around you that need to liquidate it, clear your debt and move on. And because people want to live extravagant life, they want to impress their neighbors, they want to impress their friends, they don't want people to know that they are in a mess. If you are in a financial mess, own up, take responsibility. If there is an asset that you can sell to take care of the debt, take care of it, free your neck so that you can think and move forward. So those are the things people need to do. Although I know that this action, they could be specific to each what I call it now, to each situation. So, but on a general note, so those are the steps that you need to know. But if people in this if somebody is in a financial mess and needs a way out, you can talk to people who know. We can tell you, okay, do it this way, do it this way, this way. But some of the things that we look at is, what is your present income? What is the nature? Do you have any assets you can throw out and move on? You have 2 cars, you are owing money. Why can't you sell one and manage one? Later, when you are balanced, you buy it again. So those are the things people need to do. You need to be disciplined, then you need to be responsible. Number one thing. I hope that answers that question. Yes. So,
Can we do better than that? I think I have been richly informed. Richly informed. And I think that is the highlight of this, right? What exactly do you do with money? He talked about opportunity cost. And I reflected on what he said. You give people money, they don't appreciate it. But they didn't understand that it took you 2 hours of your life to earn what you gave to them free. And they look at you and feel like you have not done anything. And so in that perspective of sitting down to say, what is the value that I'm giving to you? If you don't appreciate it, don't bother. Then next time you're not going to get that value. Go find the value. If it's easy, then go work it out. I think this has opened our eyes to also learn to appreciate people. Then 2, he also spoke about, of course, the time value too, right? So I'll give you tomorrow 100,000, and I've given you 10,000 today. The truth is that 10,000 you have today is worth more than that promise of 100,000. Because until it gets to your hand, that's when it becomes value to you. Now you can place the 10,000 immediately in an investment and make maybe just 2 naira tomorrow morning. It will become 10,002 naira. But that 100,000, another story might come tomorrow, and you never get that money. But that value you have, that 2 naira, has been added to you that nobody can take away. It's been such a very lovely time having you here, Mr. Opeyemi Folorunso. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you deeply from our hearts. Thank you for sharing. To say thank you to Mr. Folorunso. Please, from the depth of our hearts, we have a small gift for you to say thank you. May I invite him back here? Okay, so on behalf of the New Covenant Youth Church, Agodi Center, we'd like to say thank you for your resource. Thank you for your time. We do sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much for investing in us. Thank you. Okay, we will close the meeting. Please, shall we stand? It's about 7:30 p.m. in Nigeria. Just in case you joined us online outside of the country, thank you for standing by. And for those who are joined online, thank you so much. We appreciate you for joining us online. For our friends, please make do to get up on our link. You can share the YouTube link with your friends so they can catch up with what happened today and then prepare them for tomorrow. Thank you, Lord, for such a blessing in this rich information around finances and money. All these learnings, we ask that you would guide our hearts to apply them in decisions. The essence is that we can apply these learnings. We can relearn what we learned, we can unlearn what is wrong, and we can learn what is right and apply them. But thank you that we have this opportunity, Lord. And we pray that as we put our hearts to this, we would find bigger opportunities that would make us simply great financial literate persons. And because we're young people, we can position ourselves for the future, where we can have that influence of bringing many more to you because of our financial positioning. We ask, O Lord, that you will bless our works, bless our investments, that we will have much more to earn, and of course also be able to return to you and offer to serve mankind. For this we remain grateful. We ask that you grant each and every one of us safe trip back to our places, and would have lovely nights in preparation for tomorrow. This we ask for in Jesus' name. Amen.